Hello everyone, Dr. Letterman here to give you some quick tips on knife technique when you are scraping oboe reeds. It's probably one of the most important things that you can really work on as you are honing your reed making skills because if you have better knife technique, it means that you are getting a much better scrape, which will lead to a much better reed in the end. So you'll want to grab your knife. I have a Rigotti folding knife that I'm using, but it really doesn't matter what you have, preferably something that is sharp. If it is a brand new knife, then most likely it's already sharp. So as I get going, generally I kind of place the knife right at the base of my fingers, and I want to get a nice grip on it. So you can see I'm grabbing this handle. I've got my thumb on the top of the handle right where it meets the blade, and that's going to act as somewhat of an anchor point as I'm scraping. One disclaimer, I do have very small hands, so mine don't make it around the handle, but many of you with much larger normal size hands will probably make it all the way across the handle and need to modify for your hand. So grab your blank or whatever you have that you're going to be scraping on, and if it is a blank, you want to make sure that you have a good hold on the reed itself. So I usually place it in my hand at an angle with the tip on my index finger and the end of the staple around my pinky. And as I close around this reed, I'm using my index finger as a support for the reed itself. And my thumb also is going to be the other kind of point that I'm holding on to this reed with, as well as my middle finger. It kind of finds that midpoint of the reed. The others are honestly just kind of closing around it and holding on to it. So as I grab my knife and get ready to scrape, I'm going to come to the cane, and I want you to notice that this left thumb pushes into the blade of the knife as I move off the cane. You can see that it's a nice motion, and as I scrape, you can see my wrist is making this sort of motion. I'm always starting perpendicular to the surface below with the knife blade, and it then will kind of move off. I don't want to end like this though. It's a very small motion, moving from here to here. That's really about all that I'm moving. It's not this full movement. But as I get quicker at it, you can see that the cane starts to come off very curled. This is not a brand new blank, so there is bark already gone, so you won't see the nice curled stuff that normally comes off, but you can get an idea of exactly how this scrape works. Just some important things to remember is that we don't want to push into the reed, because what can happen is we can literally take half of a blade completely off, and then we'll be very sad because there is no chance that this will make a reed. All of that pressure that you want to push into the reed, use your left thumb, and that pressure that you push into the blade, that can really regulate all of that pressure you want to add. The other thing is always pay attention to where your index finger on your left hand is, and also where your reed is in relation to that finger. Now, if I'm working down here towards the end of the reed, I'm probably not going to have my index finger on the tip of the reed. It's not really necessary because I'm not putting any pressure there. But as I start to move to the top, I'm going to move my finger so that I am supporting the end of that reed. If I don't support the end of that reed, I'm going to have some problems, namely that the cane itself will start to bend backwards. And again, we'll have problems and not a good reed. So again, make sure you're perpendicular with the surface below with your knife, moving the wrist just a little bit, not pushing hard and always paying attention to where this finger is in relation to the part that you are scraping on. And that should get you started with scraping an oboe reed. Happy scraping!